Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea Necchiarico, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last QHHT hypnosis session. And before we move forward, I'd like to ask you to please like and subscribe to my channel. Definitely like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you could, it helps me make more videos. And also please do leave me a comment, because I would like to hear where everybody's at, if this information resonates with you, just what you think, where you're at with things in general. Now, before we move forward, I want to clarify a couple of things so that this is clear to everybody. I'm reading from the transcript of that session. When I refer to Carolyn, I'm speaking about the hypnotist asking me questions I've prepared in advance. And when I refer to me, I mean the answers that I received from the 25th. So it's the 25th speaking through me. Now, just so we're clear, I don't consider myself as somebody who channels, for the simple reason that I go to my highest self in the 25th. It's where all the highest selves for the entire collective, all our highest selves reside. So I'm always connecting, as I always recommend that everybody does. If you're going to be connecting, in order to avoid any filtration, I would always recommend going into your heart and connecting only within yourself, which means to your higher self, as opposed to entities out there, whoever that might be. All right, let's move forward. The very first question, I want to explain it before I read the answer. The question that Carolyn is asking is, in general, who will remember us? The reason I wanted to know the answer to this question is because if you've watched any of my previous videos, I talk about 3 groups of people. It is not true that the entire collective, human collective, is going to New Earth or to any one place. And there are instead 3, or at least this is what we're told by the 25th. There are 3 different groups of people. One group is going to New Earth. One group is going to hang out with the aliens consciously. And one group is actually going to 3D chambers, to where they're going to basically have a reality that's very close to 3D, but very close to what we have here, but just a lot more fun. So all of us are getting exactly what we want. This is an upgrade for all of us. So everybody's going to be perfectly happy with what they have chosen. We're not going to have this extreme negative polarity that we have on this planet at this time. However, because the 25th has explained to us before that the people in 3D, for example, who want to stay in 3D, they don't want to know that this is a game, that we're living in a game. We will not be able to, or we will choose not to take them out of their reverie. So we're not going to contact them. And I wanted to be clear on how that works, meaning that, do we have to let go of people in that sense? They might just remember that we are, that something wonderful happened to us, or whatever, they'll remember. So I wanted to know more about this. This is the reason for the question. And again, the question is from Carolyn. In general, who will remember us? Me. Nobody in the third in a 3D simulation will remember. Will know that we've gone to New Earth. They won't even know about aliens necessarily, or at least not anytime soon, since it would be just too traumatic. However, they will think that something happened to you. For the ones who will not be able to handle this thought that you're not there anymore, and they will think you're dead, and they will have pain around this. There might come a time when you will just disappear from their memory. But most people will remember you. Now, the ones going to hang out with the aliens, they know you, so they will remember you. The question is only about the people going to 3D. Most of them will just assume that something wonderful happened to you, or that maybe you were picked up by angels. There are a lot of people that think things like that. Who knows? This will depend on whatever the individual soul decides to do with that information. And I think the good news here is that the people who are going to hang out with the aliens, if you're on New Earth, you can go and visit them. You can project yourself. And so you don't have to say goodbye to them in any meaningful way. So I know that I have family members who are going to hang out with the aliens, and I was already told that I will be hanging out with them quite a bit. All right. Okay, so Carolyn. Okay, so I left here, and I'm sorry, it's taking me a second because I want to make sure this is relevant to you. There is no point in me sharing something that doesn't shed light on anything it's important. However, I had asked a question about my personal life in that I have started a few projects, and normally I am able to take projects to conclusion just very straightforward, in a very straightforward manner, which doesn't mean that stuff is not hard necessarily. I'm just like everybody else. I'm a 3D person, right? And I have 3D life. But what I've noticed is that more recently, things are just not going the way that they normally go for no good reason. Some very odd things happen. So I was getting frustrated. And so I asked about that. And here's the question. I'm just going to read it to you. And the reason I am leaving this in is because this might be happening to a lot of different people. Okay. And so just in case this is happening to you as well, things are not as they used to be. Okay. Because of the timeline. So this is my case specifically, but hopefully it applies to more than just me. Carolyn. So she feels this is not normal for her. She feels like she's failing again in achieving the object of my my goals, basically. And me answer yes, because she's a drama queen. And Carolyn is laughing. She's a drama queen. I didn't see that at all. Me. We tease her. She's not a drama queen, but she does like to hang on to her old vision of herself because she was very proud of it. And she's very good. She's very good at the 3D. The fact is, we have much bigger fish to fry right now. So what they're saying is, that there is a reason why they don't allow us in a way. This is our higher selves. This is nobody outside of us doing things to us we don't want. But basically, our higher self sometimes puts obstacles in our lives in terms of the things we've always done, because they really want us to move into a different direction or take more time for ourselves or whatever it is. And I think they go more into detail into this. Carolyn, when it won't really mean a lot. She's really tired of having a hard time with what's happening here, the survival mode, and has been meditating a lot more since you said the sitting would allow her to remember, which is the reason she was sent here to do this job, because she can remember quickly. And there are people who need her guidance, so she must remember sooner rather than later. But she's not aware of any new memories. When is she going to remember? What is she doing wrong since she's not remembering yet? And again, I'm leaving this in because I remember being so frustrated the past 2 years, thinking I was meditating, I was doing all kinds of things, and I'm thinking, I just cannot connect. I had flashes, I had visuals. I've always been very visual, but at the same time, it was nothing like I have right now. And so in case this is happening to any of you, hopefully this answers some of your questions around this. Me. Everything is going according to plan. You actually do remember a lot of stuff. If you notice, and we know you notice, that these hypnosis sessions are feeling very, very different. And every time you do them, you feel like this is your own thoughts, even though you know perfectly well this is not even information you had before. This is how you know you're connecting, but it's now becoming part of you. It's integrated, and therefore you don't have to question anymore. You can close your eyes and you will get the answers. You don't even have to ask questions. So just give us a problem or ask us about something, how something looks, and we will give you all the information that you're asking for. You can do this very, very quickly. And so again, the reason I left this in is because many times, if you're anything like me, you will feel like, yeah, you're doing all the stuff, but you're not really reaching any breakthrough in terms of consciousness. I would like you to know this is actually all happening in the background. That's exactly what happened to me. I had no idea. When I think back to even last year, I was thinking, man, what is going on? How come there are people who have this connection? Where's my connection? Especially because I was very psychic when I was a child, and I've been working on reactivating that after I went dormant for about 30 years of my life because of different reasons. So I don't want you to give up. That's why I'm sharing this information. Hopefully this happens. We all have our own way of connecting, and many times we are connecting, we're just not aware of it because it feels so natural, our connection to source or to our higher self, that we might think it's our thoughts, but it isn't necessarily. So at the end of the day, the key word here is have faith, because we are all connected. Carolyn. So she feels like she's not reaching many people. Who will she help by remembering when she finally does? Me. The people that you're reaching are teaching others. You're just not aware of it. There are a lot of people already talking about the information you put out there. However, go ahead and start. They want me to start a TikTok channel. Start a TikTok channel, which you want to ask us about, because you will reach many more people as well. But don't worry, because you put in place the cycle already. This information is reaching the people it needs to reach, and you will reach many, many more people before this is over. Again, the reason I left this in is because we sometimes don't see the result of our efforts. And it feels like you're doing things, if not in vain, you're really not having the effect you want to have. I have only recently started my YouTube channel, so it's not like I'm here hoping for who knows what. At the same time, I do want to make sure this is making a difference. So that's what I was checking. And it seems that it is. So I'm grateful and I'm happy to hear that, because the truth is this, and this is a question I don't have the answer to yet, but it's a question I'm going to be asking the next time I connect. I don't know what difference it makes, in the sense that they want to share this. So clearly it must make a difference of some kind. But we've been told before by the 25th, and again, if you watch any of my previous videos, you'll know what I'm referring to, that the timeline for this planet is set. Basically, we're going to move on to the things we have decided to move on to individually, whether we're all asleep or not. In fact, the only reason some of us are quote unquote waking up or becoming more spiritual is because we're actually aligning ourselves in this lifetime in line with to prepare ourselves for our future, for the future we've chosen. So I know we hear a lot of the opposite, which is we're ascending and therefore we're going to New Earth. No, we didn't have to. First of all, we're not ascending. Secondly, we didn't have to do anything. It's just that it would be too mentally challenging to go, for example, from not believing in aliens, being completely 3D, to then being picked up by an alien ship. So it would be too traumatic, just too much of a leap. And therefore, we will find ways in this lifetime to start becoming open-minded, maybe hear about aliens, maybe be curious about them, so that we're ready to explore this new experience. Okay, so that's what's actually happening. But the reason I bring this up is because a lot of us again feel like we're not making a difference. Like, what difference does it make then? Or at least I was feeling, what difference does it make then if I put this stuff out? Since it doesn't really matter. I mean, the people who want to be spiritual, does it really matter if they're following sources that are infiltrated? There's a lot of misinformation out there. There are a lot of people, for example, who believe in the ascension cycle, which is a game rule within the matrix. It's not the ultimate truth. And it's perfectly fine. If you believe in that, you're going to behave as a nice person. It's all good, right? What difference does it make? It doesn't hurt anybody. So or at least in my opinion. And so I was curious. I'm like, what's the point of this? I will find out. I'm actually really curious. What difference does it make, the quality of information that we have access to? Because you can be spiritual in intention. It doesn't matter if you believe that, the Pleiadians are helping us, or the Pleiadians are really evil, they're not helping us. If you believe in the Pleiadians, see the way, then when the aliens show up, unless it's going to be Pleiadians picking you up, you're going to be just fine. So this is the stuff I want to find out about. And for sure, if you have questions along these lines, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always looking for questions to ask at the 25th. All right, so let's move forward. Carolyn. So during this session, you have already just stated that Clea is much more connected and is integrated. She feels like recently in the past that her connection isn't as strong. Will she not feel that anymore? Will she have that continual feeling of connection now? Me. You will not feel the way that I felt after the first session, for the simple reason that she was integrating the energy and the frequency, and now it's so part of her that she doesn't even have to do any of that. It is so part of her, she doesn't realize that she is now connected all the time. So she actually stops herself from asking questions sometimes. Whereas when she just lets go, like it happened the other day in the shower, and the shower is always a good place to ask questions, just in general, because water is a conduit. So try that if you're having trouble connecting or hearing your own higher self. She just has to ask a question and let it go. The answer just comes to her. She doesn't even have to focus anymore. Again, I love this in because many times we think that these connections that we make with source, higher self, etc., have to be hard. I thought, oh my goodness, this doesn't feel hard at all. I don't have to focus anymore. And the reason I don't have to focus is because the first time or two, again, you're integrating the energy or whatever it is. Maybe you're creating new neural paths in your brain. I don't know. And it becomes a lot. Like I was in a haze after my first session. If you go back and see my first video I did, I feel like I was basically sleepwalking. But since then, it's become super easy. I ask a question. Sometimes I'm not even asking. I'm in a conversation with somebody. The person asks a question, just, chit-chatting, and all of a sudden they'll send me the answer. The key is, again, if you doubt your connection, you're actually going to stop it. And I do some of that still to this day. So this is not to judge anybody. It's from personal experience. If you want to be more aware of your higher self, do not question it. Your higher self is always there, listening and giving you answers. It's just our ability to trust that we are getting those is what's really important. Okay, so Carolyn, so she just has to allow me. She just has to know that she's already connected. She has to remember that. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't have to feel a certain way to be connected. All right, let me see. Okay, here we go. So I'm leaving in this one thing as well, where I normally ask for final messages. And I left it in because they're not just talking to me. When they give us these final messages, normally they apply to a lot of people. So bear with me. I know it talks about Clea, but it's not about Clea. I'm not unique in any way. So it applies to many of us. Carolyn, final message for Clea in advice. Me. You stress out about things that don't matter. And you don't do the things that we're telling you to do. And they're laughing. What in the world? And then you're here wondering like, oh my gosh, or it's all just too much. The past is over. What you've done up to now is over. It's not relevant anymore. You didn't enjoy it. Like you enjoyed it fully when it happened. Now you don't enjoy it anymore. Why don't you focus on what's coming next? I know it's hard as a 3D person to be in this wavelength. But trust us, this is what you wanted and you will never look back. So I really did want to share that. And I did ask for a final message for Carolyn, which I think is also going to be relevant to different people. So I'm going to read that as well. Carolyn, final message and advice for Carolyn. Me. Well, there's so much to say, Carolyn, and they were laughing. You are so powerful, Carolyn. If we were to be funny, we would say we blame you for not pushing Clea a little bit more. You have everything available. You have done so much, and look at where you brought yourself by your own abilities. And you are playing with us almost on a daily basis, definitely on a weekly basis. And yet you still believe in the 3D. What is that about? Is that entertaining to you? Carolyn, I don't know. I'm mired to it. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And I feel the pain. I mean, I understand. Me. It's old habits that are hard to die. We understand this. Carolyn, yes, they are. The human piece, the human. I have no idea why I'm so enthralled with humanity. And of course, as you already know, I've been through enough. I'm done. So what do I do to change that? Me. Just change it. Now, if you have to keep focusing because of survival reasons, as you say, keep focusing. It's okay. But you don't need to believe it is real. Be very aware of why you're doing it. It's because you have to do it. But again, you get to do it. Switch your intention towards it so that you are not a slave to it. This is not a prison. You are first and foremost essence. And then you just play with this as you wait to play with the next set of construction blocks that you're setting up. Carolyn, final messages and advice for the 12,000. Me. The 12,000 are already in action, but they are waiting for the signal to start the very last phase. In the next few weeks, things are always going to turn around for people oh, I'm sorry, things are already going to turn around for people going to 3D simulation reality. The light workers have work to do to prepare for that. The light will become much greater and the world will become much lighter after the 3D people are gone, even though it won't be visible necessarily on the surface so much because NPCs will be left behind. However, restrictions will be lifted, so people will find relief in that. The light workers need the signal, and we will give them the signal. So this is a message for light workers. Everything is on par. In fact, we've been told before that the timeline has accelerated because of the work we've done. So if you are one of the 12,000 listening, and you might or might not know yet, and that's okay, you're still doing what you're supposed to be doing because it's our energy. There is a work behind the scenes, then I wanted to share this with you for that reason. Now, I do have a question here that I will go more into depth. I'll find out exactly the ins and outs. They're saying here that 3D people will be gone in their sleep and they will leave behind NPCs. I'm not super clear on this because I always was under the impression that 3D people were just going to move and then have their memories changed so that they would remember. Basically, they don't want to know this is a game, so they don't want to remember how this is happening. I didn't realize they're going to go there and I wonder what's happening to their body, because the whole point of why this is so special is that not only is only the third time in the multiverse that a planet has been taken down, a game board has been taken down, but it's also the fact that we are moving on with our bodies. Now, the people going to hang out with the aliens, which is about half of the population, they will for sure be picked up with their bodies, or at least this is what we're getting. The people going to a new earth will leave their bodies behind, but they will move consciously. So it's not going to be like death where you don't remember, you know exactly what you're doing. This will be a choice. We're going to be projecting ourselves there. But now, basically, I just found out that apparently the people going to 3D will also move on differently from what I expected. If you're curious about this, stay tuned. I am going to find out, okay, how that works. Carolyn. So our Clea, Carolyn, and this other friend that I found out is one of the 12,000, part of the signal. Me, yes, we are. It's like when you make smoke signals. It's one light lights up here, one lights up on the mountain far away. You see the smoke. This is what's happening. Carolyn, and we needed to be doing this within the next 3 weeks. Me, you can do it whenever you want, but they're waiting for the signal. It's up to you. Carolyn, okay, thank you for that. Me, the sooner the better, obviously. I mean, you're wanting to get off this thing or not? Oh, are you wanting to get off this thing or not? You have been doing faster work, all of you. The timeline has shifted, has accelerated. So things are going on par. So you'll know when to do it. And this is something that we have to do. But again, I left it here because if you're one of the 12,000, you will know this information will resonate and you will know that that's what's happening. We are all connected. So we're all doing work together. So I thought it was wonderful. I didn't even know I was supposed to do this. You know, we find things when it's time for us to know things. Carolyn, final message for humanity at large as we start our last year on this planet. And is there anything we can look forward to in our reality on this planet before we move on? Me. You have to let go of all these limiting beliefs where you believe that you deserve what is happening because you either want it or it's doing something for you beyond the sheer entertainment of it. You have to stop believing that things are so sequential, that because you want something, it has to look a certain way. You're infinite beings. Anything can look any way you want it. You've told yourself in this binary system here that it's if you have A, then you have B, or B comes after A. That's not how reality works. So your biggest challenge as you move forward, as you are here, again, is not that much longer, so it doesn't really matter. But as you move forward, if you want to start playing with this thought, is that you are infinite beings. Nothing has to look the way that you think it has to look, or has to look a certain way. Everything can look exactly as you decide. And there's something to look forward to. The fact that you will have some respite in 3D before you leave. So a lot of you who are worried about things will be able to get some comfort. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have any more challenges, because you will. And a lot of people, because a lot of people don't understand what you're going through, will be very anxious. especially around the time that a lot of these changes are going to happen. But you can very much look forward to the fact that it's not going to last much longer. And you will be, most of you will be conscious, or many of you will be conscious as a change happens, and it will be positive. So you will be excited. You have a lot to look forward to. And even the people going to 3D, they will wake up one morning and the world will be a better place. So lots to look forward to. Carolyn, thank you for that. Me, happy news. Carolyn, happy news. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we end this session with Clea? Me. We would like to say that we've been planning this for a long time. We have watched for a long time, and we are quite grateful and excited that we are seeing this plan come to fruition. We would like to say thank you to all of the light workers on this planet at this time. This has truly been a labor of love for us, and we knew that you could pull it off, and we can't wait for you to get a vacation. And they were laughing here. Carolyn, and I myself thank you for being present and guiding us once again and giving us all this beautiful information. I'm always honored every time I'm allowed to do this with you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was heart lifting, this message. I know it was for me, because we are going through not only some difficult times as we have been, especially in the last 2 years, but for much longer than that. And many of us do feel that very vividly. But I've had some tough days myself. I know there is a roller coaster of emotions happening out there. Sometimes when I go outside, I leave my house, I feel like I'm walking through mud. I feel like the word that keeps coming up for me is sludge. I feel like I'm around sludge that I have to try to avoid. So I know it's very hard, and a lot of people are having a hard time with this. So I do hope that this gives you some visual for what to expect and a reason to be optimistic. So much love, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care, and thanks for watching.